Welcome, everybody, to another episode of HNS Radio. Adam Freeman here for an athlete spotlight, the first one of this 2024 season. And we've got kicker Simon Zeidan with us. Simon, thanks for joining us this morning.
Of course, glad to be here.
Simon, the first question I want to ask you is just kind of like, is to see if you could sort of turn back the clock and sort of tell me what were you feeling 2 years ago today when you were starting your journey, your football journey?
Well, honestly, I don't think I'd be in the position I am right now. It was just like a little fluke, to be honest with you. And it's brought me long ways, and I'm super glad it brought me where I am, and I can't wait to go to the next level.
Yeah, and we're all really anticipating sort of where you're going to end up, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. Who was it that kind of first encouraged you to make the shift from soccer to football?
I honestly don't remember, but I just remember being out in PE and just goofing around, kicking, and Coach Cassidy came out and was like, "You're going to be on the team now." And I was like, "I really don't want to," and he called my mom and everything, and after that, I just kicked off and became a star player for a kicker.
Yeah, I mean, you've really impacted the game, especially I remember a couple games specifically last year, big field goal at South Paulding to really give us some insurance there. What have you worked on the most in the offseason?
This offseason, I'd say my field goals are what I worked on the most. And, I've really been hitting them hard, and I've worked so much on them, and it's just been a grateful thing because now I'm so super consistent with them.
Yeah, I mean, Terry and I always, in our pregame, we always have one eye down on the field watching you guys warm up, and we've been really impressed just watching you warm up, and just you're kicking, your leg is just incredible as far as your distance-wise, and the accuracy, as you said, has gotten so much better. What about your punting game? That can really, a lot of people think that, field goals, they give points and that really impacts the game. What's your thoughts on I think you get more excited over a good punt than making a long field goal. Would you say that's true?
Well, that is true because a punt can either make or break the game. So as a field goal, but a punt, you can get the ball and then receive it again, and then be able to score a touchdown for 7 points instead of 3.
Yeah. And as far as flipping the field position, when that ball's in your hands and you have to punt, I mean, you can, and you have done this, you've gotten us out of some really bad situations with some really good punts that I can remember in the last year or two. Is there any one situation where you were punting that you remember that is and I know the answer to this question, but go ahead.
Yeah, Pebblebrook last year. It was an amazing experience. I got to throw a fake to Amari Watson and for a touchdown, but it was called back, unfortunately. But it was just an amazing play overall, and it was just on the fly how it was called.
Yeah, and we had kind of heard leading up to that week that might be a possibility because you were you were kind of telling us, hey, we've been working on this, and it was the right part on the field, I think, to pull that off, and it was like a 4th and 7 or something like that, and you did. You threw a dime to Amari. He ended up scoring, and then of course the penalty brings it back. But the call is still out there, and it stays as a touchdown. So yes, in my eyes, the clip is out there, and it stays as a touchdown. Well, we want to talk about obviously what's coming up this week. What have you guys been doing sort of collectively as a team to get ready for week 1?
Honestly, I feel like collectively as a team, we've been really hitting hard on defense and locking down, and offense has just been doing amazing. And this year, I just have a feeling offense is going to be incredible, and from this game on.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, and I had a chance to talk with Coach Salam on Monday, and he's like, we really didn't game plan. We just kind of went out there, wanted to be able to play sort of free and loose. And he's like, you clean up a couple things and you only give up 14 points.
Yep.
So and I think he realized that. And again, you guys realize that as well. But, as the season progresses, you're gonna have some tough matchups. You're gonna have it's no longer a 5-team region, the 7-team region. We've got North Paulding, third game of the year, which is always tough to go over there and win. Who do you think is going to be the toughest region opponent this year for you guys?
I think this year it'll definitely be McEachern again. It's just always a good matchup between us, and we fell short of 3 points last year. And I think this year we're going to come back and whoop their tails.
I hope so. It's going to be here at least.
Yes, it will.
So maybe we get a little home field advantage. So hopefully that will give us kind of push us over the edge. And I thought we had that game. We just had some series where we just didn't produce. But hey, you look back and you can always, hindsight's 20/20. But looking beyond this season, obviously you've had a lot of interest from schools. We even talked about it last week as Georgia State is really coming after you hard. University of Georgia showed some interest. And, of course, Mississippi State, who's been there kind of maybe the longest in terms of interest for you. What's, without giving anything away, but what's that process been like, and, when might you make a final decision?
Well, for my final decision, I'm hoping something falls around between the mid to the end of the year. That's what I'm hoping. But the recruiting process in total, it was fun until it wasn't. It got really stressful it's still stressful. And, I just got to wait and look for the right home for me. And, yeah.
Yeah. And again, we're behind you 100%. And, we have tracked your progress, and it's been a fun ride watching you. We want you to have continued success coming through 2024. Well, one thing I want to end on, I always like to end our interviews on just something completely random. So I'm just going to ask you a random question. All right, so maybe our audience can get to know a little bit behind the veil of who Simon Zeidan is. What is your favorite breakfast cereal?
Breakfast cereal? I actually don't eat cereal.
Are you serious? Okay, wow.
You want to know what I have for breakfast this morning? I had biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy.
Yep.
Okay, so X the cereal and just go straight with biscuits and gravy.
Exactly. Homemade is the way to go.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks. Simon Zeidan, place kicker and punter for the Hoyas, about to get ready and get the 2024 season going in earnest here on Friday. We'll be broadcasting starting at 7 p.m. on hnsradio.com and on the HNS Radio podcast on Podbean. Simon, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, love to be here. Go Hoyas.